How long has it been, Rach, since you've been training here now?
So this is the 5th Saturday, so 4 weeks.
4 weeks. How many sessions a week?
3 sessions.
Tell me about it. What have you... That's good, right? Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm absolutely loving this. So the first 3 weeks, my body, it hurt a lot. Oh my God, I nearly vomited after those first 3 sessions. But no, my recovery's got so much better. First 3 weeks, my body didn't do anything, didn't feel like. And then it was last week. So after 3 weeks, I started to see physical changes. And then this week I feel stronger. This is the first week I felt stronger.
Good. Have you been taking photos? Have you weighed yourself? What have you used for reference points?
Measurements, yeah. So I did my measurements, weight and taping and body fat measurements in the first week.
Good.
Kept weighing myself for those first 3 weeks. That's when nothing happened at all.
Yep.
And then in that going into the 4th week, I think I dropped over 2 kilos. It's a bit fast.
It comes like that. It's not always linear. The sort of analogy I use is like trying to sort of unscrew the lid off a jar. You keep screwing, eventually it just pops.
I did, yeah. Did do that. And so...
so we're at a stage now where you're visibly looking much leaner.
Yeah.
You're definitely much stronger. We've got some footage of your training today where your hack squatting's just improved any sort of potential hope I could have had for you.
Yeah.
So we're at a stage now where I can take you past failure and know that your form's not going to fall down, which is huge. So you might not appreciate where that is, and the average person may not appreciate the importance of that essentially potential load to the muscle that we can't put there for other reasons, not because the muscle can't handle it. So it's a crying shame when the muscles are begging for more weight and some other variable stops it happening. So I was thrilled with that, and we'll chuck a bit of that footage.
I could see in those first few weeks you were so particular about getting those techniques exact, and then even today in that hack squat I could feel that I didn't have to think about the technique anymore. That was really automatic, and it was all about just pushing through, and then I could push through.
That's probably the hardest thing. Look, as a coach from my perspective, I don't care anymore. Years gone by I probably did, but you'll lose a few people early on because they think, this is going to be too easy, or this guy's just, I don't know, too much of an anus about form. But if you understand why, you understand why execution is so important. Injuries aside, I'm not even talking about injury prevention. We're just purely talking about what is bodybuilding, and bodybuilding is applying load to a target muscle. So if your form is less than perfect, then that is some percentage of that load going elsewhere, and that's as simple as that. Actually,
that is the biggest difference here than any other time I've trained before. Slightly higher, and now I realise how bad my technique and form must have been. All those other times I've gone and trained.
You can literally quantify, like I was saying to you a while ago, if you're, say we call it rank form out of 10, 10 being perfect, 1 being awful, or 0 being awful. So we're on 100 kilos for 10 reps. If that's a 6 out of 10, then we can say 60% of the load of the 100 kilos going to the muscle. If it's an 8 out of 10, 80% of the load is going to the muscle, so you're actually in effect putting more load through the muscle at the same weight, if that makes sense. So it really is quite, you don't need to convince someone in some abstract way. I'm thrilled with that. I'm thrilled that you took that on board and you're embracing that, and now we're actually seeing the benefits of it. And now we're at a stage where the technique's all in the past now, it's automatic now, it's great for a minute. So in terms of focus, your back's actually in very good condition. So probably legs is our weakest point. So we're really going to hammer legs for the next period of time. So we've got a couple of comps in mind. We haven't set really a date yet. We don't need to. It'll be probably early next year. It just gives us plenty of time to put on a bit of muscle. We don't need a ton of muscle on us, but I do want to make sure that we can get a little bit more on you, and then have plenty of time to be able to get conditioned, drop the body fat. So since where we're at now is, I guess we're in we'll call it recomposition mode. So because we're still only sort of 5 weeks in, you're going to find that we can still be in calorie surplus. I don't quite know where we're at yet, because we'll talk about the food in a minute, and still be dropping body fat and of course building muscle. And so we can recompose for a long time. There's a bit of a myth out there that you need to be either building muscle or dropping
That's
fat.
exactly, I was going to ask you exactly
So
that.
there's ways to manipulate that, and the basic way you do it is you shuttle most of your carbohydrates to your training days where you utilise them most, and then drop the carbs down and up the fats on your non-training days where you're not going to use the carb. There's a few ways to do it, or you have a refeed day where you're having very, very low calories on your non-training days, and there's a few ways around it. We basically cheat the system rather than just having the same one every day.
I would prefer that.
Yeah, but what I need from you initially is to get that protein up. So we talked about your protein being a bit low.
Yeah.
So tell us what's happening there.
Okay, so that was a challenge. So those first couple of weeks, remember, I just ate what I wanted and was monitoring it to see where
that's
I was
what I
at.
wanted. Yep.
So I was surprised. I don't even know what normal
So
is.
the first step was, I wanted you to just track your food, not change anything.
No.
Let's just see where we're at. And then we made some adjustments after that, didn't we?
Yes, so you wanted me on 100 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, 50 grams of fat, about.
Where were you initially? You were around about like 50 grams of protein when you were very low.
50 grams
Where
of
was your
protein,
carbs?
about 150.
Yeah.
Could even go up.
Yep.
And then fats, probably 20, 30.
Yeah, we need those fats to be up. I want them up around 50, 60 as a female. Yep.
So, and I'm vegetarian as well,
Yep.
so I started
Gives me more
having
prep,
to
yeah.
find ways to
Squeeze the protein.
get it in.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, so then last week, my goal was to hit 100 of protein and not worry about the other stuff too much, remember? It was just about finding ways to get it in.
That's what we wanted.
So, I must have got it about 5 days.
Yeah, that's good.
A
5
couple
to
of
7's
busy
all right.
days in there. Mine's a lot of organisation too.
Yeah, it's going to take
make sure.
time to really hit. It will become just like the weight training. It'll become automatic soon. You'll know almost intuitively how much volume of food you'll need to have to get the protein up.
Yeah.
And so that's what we wanted. So the reason we did that was because I wanted the fat and the protein to go up. I didn't want you to be having too many extra calories, so having 50 grams more, so that's another 200 calories of protein I wanted from you, then another 30 grams of fats, that's another 270 calories, so that's extra 500 calories a day. I really didn't want you eating 500 calories a day more, so we dropped the carbs down to one stage. We hit the protein, so I want 2 grams, ideally in a perfect world, 2 grams per kilogram of body weight.
Of protein.
Yeah, so in a perfect world, but 100 is more than respect. How much are you weighing?
About 59.
59, yeah, so I mean that's fine for the moment.
Yeah.
And we see how that goes, and pretty much when we hit those numbers consistently, so probably next week, we'll say, okay, we're at 100 consistently now. Let's have a look at what we do with our carbs. When we have our carbs, assuming you got your fat to the right amount as well, and we can start manipulating the carbs and maybe either pushing them more towards training time or pushing them more towards training day. So the few things we can do. But the main thing is just being consistent with it. I'll probably just keep you being consistent with it so we know what's working. If you keep dropping weight at a not too fast a rate, great. If we go nowhere for a few weeks and we know we need to make some changes. The look we're going for is big, I'm going to say big, relatively big quads. Big delts, big nice beautiful delts, side delts, rear delts, back. Keeping away from the upper traps. Making the mid-back look really, really nice. Obviously nice glutes, hammies. Very, very little arm work. You've got to earn your arm work really. So your arms can only be as big as your delts let them be. So if you've got small delts and your arms are the same size or your arms are even bigger, it's a shit look. So big, nice capped delts, and then, if we need to do arm work, we'll do some, but you'll get enough in virtue of all the push and pulling stuff.
I love that. I'd never heard that idea before. Before you said that the first time.
Yeah, what's the comp we're going for? We're going for the X look. So big shoulders. When I say big, you know what I mean by big. I don't mean like fucking Chinese swimmer big. Big shoulders, big quads. That's the X look. So it gives you the impression of a narrow. We'll know once we get into training for a while and we see what body parts respond. We see what everything looks like when we strip the body fat down, then we can sort of know, okay, well, this is a weak point, this is a strong point. But generally just having big quads, doing enough for hammies, your glutes will get a workout. Anyway, with a lot of the leg stuff you do, really focusing on the delts. Like I said, your backs become less of a priority. We still obviously do some, but just hammering delts, probably delts every session, legs every session. It's obviously splitting up what we do. But that's all there really is to it. We'll get some back stuff in there. So you'll find that your program's going to change based on how I think things look over the next. So say, okay, well, things are responding, this is looking good. Okay, like we said the other day, back's looking really awesome, but legs need to probably catch up. So when we're doing the leg work, it's not like we're trying to shape your legs. So we're trying to build muscle and also lose fat and see how they look. So we don't do toning stuff, so it's good to understand. If we build the muscle on here, it's going to look fucking awesome when we drop the body fat off it.
Yeah.
So it is a separate process.
You know what I loved?
What did you love?
When we were in, where did we go?
Careful.
Where you're getting the lactic acid in there. Both times we've done that.
We filmed that.
Yeah. And my leg feels like it's the weirdest sensation.
What happened after you got out of that?
Okay.
I turned the camera off for what actually happened.
Okay. I took a step. I'm going, these feels awesome. Something's going on. I collapsed.
And you fell down.
Legs gave way.
It's like the crying shame the camera was off.
I was just saying how good it was. Because I can, you know why? Because I know something's happening in there.
Yeah.
And each time you gave me the quick rest, I was actually trying to recover. Like I'm mentally trying to and physically recover.
Well,
I went into that going, I feel
This will be
strong
easy.
today.
Yeah.
I got to 12 and I was,
We fixed that up pretty quick for you, didn't we?
yeah, that was right.
And we didn't think that was quite enough. We just did one big, horrible drop set
Yeah.
with short rests, so the job's done. You're never going to get much output in there anyway because your legs are cooked.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're going to break any records by doing heavy 12s.
Yeah.
And it also just toughens you up. There's no way they're done. So I always laugh when people go, oh, overtrain. If I do, you can't overtrain. No one's tough enough to overtrain legs. They just need to be belted, absolutely belted into oblivion. And so what I'm trying to teach you there is okay, yes, we know how to push through heavyweight. You're tough, but let's try and teach you to push through lactic acid.
Yeah.
So when we're doing that sort of mid to high rep stuff, which you've got to do for leg day, you can't just do heavy stuff all the time. We're getting better at that. So it's a skill as well as the fact that in and of itself, it's going to be a good thing to do, just simply because it's going to give you some benefit for your legs.
Yeah.
But as I was saying to you, it wasn't just like on paper. There's probably a better way to do the leg extension that day, but I think overall we're giving you more of a benefit by doing it that way and teaching you to harden up a little bit.
Yeah.
More to hit the quads, hit the VMO, teardrop a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is purely just to be a bastard and teach you how to train hard, really.
That's good.
I reckon that's a wrap, Rach. I'm very, very impressed.
Feeling
Smashed
good.
it.
Thank you.
Onwards and upwards.